What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, and we're back for another episode of the 5 takeaways, and we'll be looking at Tottenham's 1-1 draw yesterday at Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace. Wasn't the greatest game, but I thought that it was a game of two halves, really. Spurs played well in the first half. Attacking intent should have been a few goals clear, I thought, when we were on top. And then when Palace went on top, I thought they were the better side, probably up until they equalised and we came back in it the last 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, I think we probably created the better chances throughout most of the game in terms of forcing the keeper into most of the saves. He had a world-class game. So I think in terms of overall, in the bigger picture, to have such a bad performance and still have their keeper be man of the match bodes well a bit. But I think the way we just conceded control of the game was worrying. And it's been a bit of a trend in our away games, and that'll be something I'll pick up on the takeaways.
Yeah, it's true, but I think you've got to give full credit to the way Palace played as well, because they had a game plan, they stuck to it, it kind of worked to perfection, and you see whenever they play the bigger side, they always frustrate, and more than likely they do get a result as well.
Yeah, they're very good against the bigger side, so it's no disgrace to get a draw away at Palace. It's just when we had an opportunity to win, and especially how the game went, it's just very frustrating. We didn't come away with 3 points.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into the 5 takeaways. And the first takeaway today is that Schlupp defending.
Yeah, actually, Jeffrey Schlupp had their 3 best chances throughout the game. And they had Palace had an overall XG of around 1.84. And he accounted for, I think, over 70% of that with his chances. His goal that he scored had an XG of 0.71, which is the highest XG chance we've conceded since West Ham, since Fornals missed an open goal against when we played West Ham. And before that, it was the highest one we've conceded is Bruno Fernandes before that from the penalty. So it shows the quality of chances we're actually conceding, even though in this game, we concede the chances still quite low. But yeah, it's worrying that he had 3 quite presentable chances in this game and one of them made pay.
It's becoming a theme, Jeffrey Schlupp scoring against us.
Yeah, it is. It's not the first time. He scored for Leicester as well against us in the cup game.
He scored the back end of last season, and now he scored again this weekend. So it's becoming a theme. I think we're going to have to put 2 or 3 players on him next time we play him.
He's a bit of an annoying player, isn't he? But last time as well, last season, it was also the same goal. Deflection off like a corner or something, and he gets the rebound. And
He's a very annoying player, Jeffrey Schlupp. But I think he's a good player as well.
Because he only scores against us, I swear.
Let's move on to number 2. And the second takeaway from the game yesterday at Crystal Palace is the protective shield.
So Højbjerg and Sissoko yesterday proving how good they can be for what job they do for the team. They made Sissoko made 14 recoveries. Højbjerg made 12 recoveries, which is more than any other player on the pitch.
I think it was by some way as well.
By a long way. And they both completed 100% of their tackles. Also, both of them making more tackles than anyone on the pitch. I think Højbjerg second with Sissoko first.
Yeah, I think Sissoko made 4 and Højbjerg made 3.
Yeah, exactly. So really, really positive stuff from them, and it's showing how in the centre what they're doing for the back 4, how they're shielding, and why we're being so solid defensively.
Yeah, I mean, and we're heavily reliant on these 2 players at the moment. Højbjerg especially shielding that back 4, and Sissoko really helping him out on the right-hand side as well as in the centre of the park. I mean, these 2 players are really irreplaceable at the moment.
Yeah. They're doing, in terms defensively anyway, they're doing a really, really solid job from the team. And it's why which we'll get into later, why we're not conceding so many goals from open play.
All right, and let's get on to the third takeaway from the game yesterday, and that is the bully Benteke.
Yeah. So Benteke had a good game, I thought, yesterday. He really did. He gave us no end of trouble.
The aerial threat is just too much for us.
He won 12 of his 14 aerial duels, which is a really high rate. And it also caused Dyer to only win 1 of his 6 and Toby not to win any of his 4. So he was really dominant in the air, Benteke, and it was really giving us a lot of trouble from set pieces as well, creating chances. He probably feels he probably should have got a goal at the end of it as well. But it wasn't just his attacking threat, it's also his hold-up play in terms of flicking things on, finding Palace teammates in dangerous areas, and he was a real thorn in our side. So I think Dyer and Toby were dominated definitely in the air yesterday, and it's something they have to look at because you don't want to be bullied by anyone. And even though Benteke is one of the most physical strikers in the Premier League, you expect probably to win more than one in 10 aerial duels that they had collectively.
Does that worry you going forward, playing against like the kind of teams with very physical strikers up top?
Well, you know from Dyer and Toby, they're not the most physical of centre backs.
Yeah.
In terms of
Dyer would like to think he is.
Dyer, look, I'm not saying they're weak. They're not weak, but they're not like Van Dijk. You know what I mean? These are guys who, they're not the strongest in the league. So they have that capacity to potentially be bullied. But that's why we got to limit the amount of set pieces we give away and things like that. Because when we're in open play, as we've seen this season, they're very, very strong and near impenetrable. They've been nearly this season in open play. But when it gets to set pieces, then all of a sudden they can be a bit vulnerable.
It's all about on the floor for them. On the floor, they're near the best in the league at the moment. But yeah, in the air...
I mean, to be fair to Dyer, he's been quite dominant in the air from a lot of other teams. But against Benteke, he got bullied.
It all depends what kind of striker they're coming up against. I mean, it's all well and good being very dominant against a Manchester United. They don't really have that physical presence up there. A Man City as well, they don't really have that physical presence up against there. But when we're coming up against the Palace, when you come up against, let's say, a Burnley, that we can come undone a bit.
Maybe in hindsight, he might have thought Joe Rodon might have been best for this tie.
We were calling for Joe Rodon to come on though, weren't we?
Yeah, near the end of the game, yeah.
Let's move on to number 4, and the fourth takeaway is away goals.
So, in our first 2 away games of the season, we scored 11 goals, right? 5 at Southampton, 6 at United, riding high. Everyone thinks we're a free-scoring team. In the next 4 away games, we've only scored 3. We've only scored 3 goals, although we've only conceded 1, which is great. And there's great defensive effort. Away from home, we've only scored 3 in our last 4. And obviously, because we've been so strong defensively, we've still been taking away the points. But is that a bit of a worry that we seem to be not finding that as much away from home? At home, 2 against Brighton, 2 against City, 2 against Arsenal, we seem to be scoring. But away from home, we seem to be relying on the odd goal at the moment. And seeing how we started the season... I wonder if it's something deliberate, to tighten up the back. We all know that we've tightened up a lot, but should we be worried that we haven't been able to score more than a goal in any game since the United game?
Well, I mean, we're not conceding as well, so that is something.
Yeah, exactly, which is great.
When you look at the games we've played, they're all every game in the Premier League is tough these days, especially away from home. Even look at Burnley; they're not having the greatest seasons this year, and I know they've been battered a few times this season. But going to Turf Moor is never going to be easy. Never going to be easy. And I don't think historically we haven't really scored many goals at Turf Moor in general, and not many teams do score that many goals at Turf Moor. Chelsea,
0-0.
Chelsea, you're not going to expect to score a heap load of goals at Stamford Bridge, are you?
West Brom 1-0.
Yeah, the games where you really expect to get the goals is the West Brom game, but all the other games, not really. Palace, we don't historically score that many goals away at Palace. So I think the stats do look bad in that sense, but I think you also got to look at what the teams that we've been playing.
No, I know. It's just. I'm not saying it's definitely something to be worried about. It's just something that is definitely evident.
Yeah.
And
the West Brom one is the worry for me. I think all the other ones can be kind of looked over, kind of.
Yeah, maybe. And also in our past 4 games, starting from the City game, we've had a lower XG than the opposition. So I think those stats can be a bit misleading because although we've had a lower XG, I think in terms of the individual chances we've created, like the XG is higher.
Yeah.
So they've had a lot of low XG chances compared to our high XG chances, but less of them. So the stats can be a bit manipulated, but those are the facts.
Well, that Harry Kane goal, I wonder what XG that was.
0.01.
Well, there you go.
So
that just proves your point.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But yeah, look, I think away from home, we should probably look to start scoring a few more goals if possible, I'd say.
Right. Let's get on to the 5th and final takeaway from the game yesterday, and we're going to be talking about those set-piece woes again.
Yeah, and yet again, another set-piece costing us, in apart from the Chelsea game where it was 0-0, and all games where we've dropped points, it's all been down to set-pieces. Every single one has been down to set-pieces. Everton, set-piece. West Ham, set-pieces. Newcastle, set-pieces. And again, against Palace, not only did we concede from that set piece, but that goal was coming from a set piece. It was all that goal. It was always going to be from a set piece.
How many goals have we conceded from open play this season?
3. So out of our 10 goals we've conceded, 3 have been from open play.
It's mental because you look at the team that we've got. I know maybe Aurier not the best from set pieces, but you look at the rest of the defence, you really think that we should be doing better from set pieces.
Yeah, we've got a big team, you'd think. And
Sissoko, Harry Kane in there as well.
And the worrying thing about the Palace game is, as I said, it wasn't just that they scored from a set piece, is that was the only way they were going to score, was from a set piece, because I thought in open play we were pretty solid. And they kept creating chances. After every set piece we gave away, we pretty much conceded a chance out of it, especially in the second half. And that's got to be a worry. But on the flip side, from open play, again, we didn't concede again from open play. And I think the last goal from open play we did concede was probably Brighton, which should have been ruled out. Before that was probably Southampton.
Did we not concede one against West Ham? That was open play?
An own goal. That was an own goal from Sanchez from open play.
Still open play, but
yeah, I guess. So there's one from West Ham, and the other one is from Danny Ings. So we've been really, really resolute and solid, which is really good. It is really positive that how good we've been from open play. We just need to tighten up a bit again, because I thought in the past 6 games, ever since that West Ham game, we did tighten up from set pieces, didn't really concede. But against Palace, we kind of went back to that form from set pieces before then, because we looked really, really vulnerable from set pieces against Palace, and again it cost us. So that's something we have to look at again.
Yeah, I mean that's work that Jose Mourinho and Ledley King got to do on the training ground. It really is, because it's becoming like a common theme in the season now, and there's not too many down points of the season, let's be honest, but that is definitely one of them.
Yeah, considering it's 70% of our goals are set pieces, so if you tighten that up, then we'll be good. But I'll definitely commend the team on how they're defending from open play, because it's definitely harder in that sense, and it's really positive. Only 3 goals conceded from open play so far this season is really positive.
Yeah. All right, so there you have it. That is the 5 takeaways from the game at Crystal Palace yesterday. A 1-1 draw that kept us top of the league at the end of the day. So we're still top of the league. Liverpool obviously dropping points away at Fulham, which was a surprise to everyone. Manchester clubs drawing with each other, and Chelsea losing on the weekend as well to Everton. So look, it's not all doom and gloom, even though we kind of sounding a bit doom and gloom today, but it's all positive. Let's be honest. I mean, the season so far has been very, very positive. We're top of the league. We've been top of the league for 4 weeks. We go to Liverpool on Wednesday with our heads firmly held high and top of the league.
As Mourinho said, but previously said before, when you lose, that's when it's time to properly analyse, not when you win, because that's when you got to think of what you can do better, and that's what we're doing. I think we dropped points against Palace when we should have won, and we're just trying to explore what we can do better, and that's all we're doing. And people saying we're being too negative, whatever. That's just we want to improve the team. We want to make sure that we get as many points as possible out of all the games. So that's what we're thinking of how we can improve.
Look, at the end of the day, we can't only talk about the positive things. We've got to talk about everything. We're a whole Tottenham YouTube channel, not just the positive things of Tottenham. At the end of the day, we only want what's positive for the club, and we're going to talk about more things positive than negative, like we have done all season. So there you have it. That is our 5 takeaways. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always,
come on you Spurs!